Yeah, we going up, we going crazy, going bonkers. Produced by Ziggy, Zay Ticky, believe that.
It ain't peaches, it'll deceive you, boy, believe me. What you know about a jungle made with nothing but semen. No creepy crawlers, just heathens that prey on your weakness. Smell the slightest hint of fear, and the stainless you'll eat it. Gang bangers that greet your test on their face like Weezy. Pouring milk by the ounce, walking around looking sleepy. I'm from a town, no integrity, a broken city, disrupted. I know niggas who once were real, who now turning into sucks. When it comes to murder, it's nothing. Rallos get pulled over scuffles. Bumpy road around this motherfucker, your life means nothing. It ain't peaches. Niggas walking around with no feelings, with a chip on their shoulder, saying the world don't feel us. Trying to earn them some millions so they can split with they niggas. I know cats that died broke because they lost all ambition. When it comes out to get.
Welcome back to another edition of More to Live For. We're right back on this wonderful segment, Queens of the City. I have a special guest with me this morning. I'm going to let her introduce herself. She's going to tell you a little bit about herself and what it is that she does, and it should be a great conversation. We're going to just keep the ball rolling. How you doing this morning, ma'am?
I'm doing well. And I hope you are too.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Before we get started, I definitely want to say thank you for doing this for me. Just want to mention that. If you can you introduce yourself to my viewers?
Yeah, absolutely. And thank you for doing this for us.
Yes,
but I am Kristen Parker. For those that know me back home, you probably know me as Kristen Warren. I am a mom of 2 children, 7 and 10 years old now. And I, as far as my career, I have spent the larger part of my adulthood in consulting, working for a large information technology consulting firm. And in that, we help other businesses make their business better. So we have clients, we work on various projects. And it's just, there's no particular day in the life, but what I do in that is I work on the people side of things. So helping the businesses, employees navigate the change that their company is going through. And so a lot of that has to do with training and communications. So whatever the gap is, we help bridge that gap with their employees for whatever change that they're currently going through.
All right, I think that's pretty nice, man. I think that's pretty cool. You know, when I think about the word consulting, the only thing I can really connect it to is maybe like, you know, maybe like a stage play or like a TV show or something like that. And this is, you know, personal knowledge that I have. Like I know a consultant in that type of atmosphere, kind of like the way you explain it. Like I know in that atmosphere, a consultant would be, you know, the guy or the woman that the person would go to, you know, before they finalize what it is they're doing. And, you know, like you said, the people side of it. So could you explain it in a little more details? I think what you said was great, but I just want to make sure I'm connected in the right way.
Absolutely. Yeah. So, I mean, you would think of it a lot in those terms. So so let's say, for instance, a business wants to change the way they're structured, right? So they may not be organized in the same way that they were. And so they would bring a consultant in to say, hey, this is what we want to do, and this is how we're currently structured. How do we get from point A to point B? And that consultant helps provide that business sense to them, right? So that's kind of like step 1. And then step 2 would be the implementation of the change. And so as a consultant, we would say, okay, this is how we're going to get from point A to point B, and we're going to walk with you along that path to get you to point B, to make sure that you're navigating that change in the right order, right? And doing what makes sense for your business. So that's the general nature of, does that help? Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. So yeah, and so when I talk about the people side of things, it's really, a lot of times we do technology implementations, but even in that, there are people impacts, right? And so what I do is help to understand those impacts to the people for those changes. And then I help those people navigate that change, right? So you kind of have a higher level of, my business is going through this change. but that business change is impacting my employees. How do we help our employees? And so that's the part that I tend to work on.
All right. So is it safe to say that in every major corporation, well, not major corporation, but in every business, it's important to have a consultant?
I would say depending, right? A lot of times a startup company or your entrepreneurs will have a consultant, right? So that they can walk through the process of getting set up. So in that case, it's beneficial. I would say if you have a good team behind you, you may or may not need a consultant, right? If you have a team that's structured to help you navigate those various phases of your business, you may not need a consultant. But in those cases where you're not set up to navigate those types of changes, or you don't have those skills on your team, then a consultant would certainly be beneficial.
All right. So,
and you can have consultants in any type of line of business. So for you, for instance, if you weren't sure how to navigate the YouTube world, you could absolutely hire a consultant to kind of help you do that.
And I promise that was my next question.
See, that's what consultants do. We think ahead.
Exactly. Well put. Thank you, ma'am. Could you lay out your educational background for us?
Yes, of course. So I graduated from North Pitt High School in 2003, then went on to do my undergraduate at the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill, where I got a Bachelor of Science in Business Administration and a minor in Information Technology. And then while working full time, I also attended the University of Phoenix and got a master's in management. So yeah.
Wow. Awesome, ma'am. So want to make sure I put this the right way. So would you say the degree that you got in the business side of things, is that what led to you being, a consultant or wanting to pursue that route?
Yeah. Truthfully, I landed in consulting out of uncertainty and necessity. And what I mean by that is, as I was preparing to graduate, I didn't quite know what I wanted to do with my life. And so I wasn't sure where I wanted to focus my career at that point. And then I made some big girl decisions upon graduating or near graduating, where I bought a house and I was like, I got to make some money. So that's the necessity part of it. And so I ended up going to consulting because it's such a broad type of career, where, like I said, there's no particular day, and you work on different types of projects, you get different types of experience. And so not knowing what I wanted to do, I was like, hey, I'll go try this consulting thing so I can figure out my interests and where I want to ultimately take my career. I did accomplish that goal in understanding what my personal interests and desires are, but it took me a little longer. I stayed there by choice. And so I thought I would only be there like 2 or 3 years, stay through an analyst and consultant position. So you start out as an analyst at my particular company and you progress through the ranks. But I ended up staying for 11 years. And so, because the company itself was pretty fabulous in terms of its people support. And so I ended up staying. But say a business degree makes you open to a variety of fields, to get to your original question. But for me personally, it was because I didn't know what I wanted to do.
Understandable. I'm still trying to figure that out myself.
Right.
Understandable. One moment.
With that being said, I am kind of in a transition, right? And now I'm looking for a job more out of clarity and my personal desires, right? So being a consultant helped me get to that point of knowing what I personally want. And that's what I'm looking for now in my job search.
All right, ma'am. So I have a follow-up question, ma'am. During this period of your transition, I definitely understand that you're from looking at your social media, and know that we're from the same high school, so we still connect after all these years. But I understand that you're an advocate for mental health as well as I am and many others. Could you share some of the backstory with us, for your advocacy?
Absolutely. And I'm getting to that point, right? So I have accepted my personal journey. And so I haven't done as much advocacy as I like. And I think this is the first step to that. So again, thank you for the platform. But I've So I took time off from work, so getting to this kind of job transition back in 2018 to focus on my own physical health and mental health, right? And for me, it was more of the mental health. At the point in June of 2018 where I decided to take a step away from work, I just wasn't feeling I was my best self, either at home or at work or as a mom and a wife, right? And so I had to take that time off to just sit and focus on what's going on with me, right? I do have some physical conditions as well that was impacting all of that, but I just didn't realize how much my mental had taken a toll of working the stressful job of being a consultant, being a wife and a mom to two young children, as I mentioned. And so I took that time off to kind of recuperate, right? And in that, I started seeing a therapist, which I would highly encourage for anybody that's struggling or not struggling, but just unsure, right, of where they are in life. So I started seeing a therapist and realized that I was very deeply depressed and I had no clue, right, until I started going through the self-reflection, the talking it out with others. And so that was why I wasn't feeling like my best self. And so I took the steps of continuing to see the counselor. Even I needed at that point, and again, this is me being very vulnerable in this place right now, but I had to take medication to kind of help get me out of that place. And so again, I just want to help take that stigma away from the therapy, the medication. You got to do what you got to do so that you can continue to be present for those that are important to you in your life. And so long story short, I've been focusing on me and my family. It's been 4 years. And so now again, I'm at that point of, okay, I feel ready. I feel prepared to go and present my best self at a company and still be able to balance my personal and my professional life. So yeah, that's kind of my piece. And again, thank you for allowing me to share that. It's probably the first time that it's been said publicly. So yeah.
Well, for starters, I definitely want to applaud you, for having the courage to share your story, and thank you for sharing it. And as far as that stigma goes, ma'am, I can definitely tell you, you're not by yourself. You're not by yourself. I see a therapist. I was prescribed medication. And, the stigma, we got to get rid of that because all that stuff worked for me. I definitely can relate to everything that you're saying. I felt like a shell of myself. All those commercials that I was seeing about, just being depressed and, those different commercials they got. And I was seeing, the guy just, a cloud above his head and like, the rest of the world going on. And I really started to connect with that. And that's how I felt. So
Yeah.
Once again, I definitely want to thank you for sharing that because, we definitely had to get rid of the stigma, as far as our culture, as far as, our generation, our age bracket, we just got to get rid of that stigma because there's no reason to not be your best self if you can,
Absolutely.
it's, I can't put it no simpler than that, as you said. So I definitely want to thank you for sharing that. And I can relate to, everything that you said. And I'm sure, other people, once they see this and, they see that, they're not the only ones because, just like you said, you share some real personal information. And I just want to let you know that you're not by yourself. So I want to share the same information because, it's just not you. It's just not me. It's other people.
Right.
And now that they see that, we said the same thing, and we got to get rid of the stigma. So I think that's, very important. And, and another thing I do want to touch on is the fact that, different people have different results, with what it takes to get them, back to being their normal self, because that's what it's all about. We can't focus too much on the journey. We got to, keep our eyes on the ultimate prize. Like when I was going through my anxiety issues in late January, February, like I didn't realize that, depression was tied up in that. And some things that I was able to talk about that I didn't know that was affecting me. And like you said, and like I said, just the fact of, our culture and our age bracket, it's definitely not nothing that we were talking about coming up. And it's not even something that we were talking about in high school. And this is just 20 years ago. So, but I definitely can relate. And it's not a good feeling to not feel like yourself. And then, having to worry about, what outsiders might say because you're trying to better yourself, which is just you know, dumb. There's no way around
Yeah.
it. So
Yep.
I think we're definitely heading in the right direction of getting rid of that stigma. So once
Yeah.
again, I definitely want to thank you for sharing this
Yeah.
the story with me and my viewers. And you know, just a little backstory how we got here. We did go to high school together, and I did. I reached out to your brother during those times of
Yeah.
being depressed, those times of being you know, just an anxiety, wondering what's gonna happen. And something that I unloaded to my therapist that I really didn't pay attention to until as the years went on. Uh, 2020 really did a number on me.
Mhm. A lot of people.
Yeah, and that's just and it was I was losing people in my family, lost my granddad that year, but more so you know, that hurt, that really did hurt. But one thing that I didn't notice that affected me was the childhood friends that I was losing. Not all of them, but you know, it happens because 2020 kind of revealed a lot of people, and it was like I was, you know, it hurt seeing people say, you know, make certain comments about certain things that were going on in that year, and I didn't know that that affected me.
Mhm.
But throughout that journey, you know, I realized, you know, that journey helped me to focus on the strong and positive people that I got in my life, and your brother was one of them. So that kind of connects into this whole journey that I'm on now.
Yeah.
You know, with high school friends, middle school friends, teachers, and stuff like that. It kind of just ties all back into it because, you know, it was like I lost all of that in 2020. So this whole journey is getting that back. So
Get
I didn't
reconnected.
mean to, you know, go on and on like that, but that's just, I just wanted to share that with you because, like I said, you share something very personal. So I think that, you know, I gotta be right there with you. So I think this has been a good interview. I think this has been very enlightening to a lot of people, and I hope I hope that I got a feeling that this can change some lives. So that's what I'm hoping for. So that's what I
Me
was trying to
too.
do. So
I'm hoping the same. And
yes,
I'll just say, can I just add one thing to that too? So, like you said,
please.
nobody's journey is going to be the same, right? But if you're starting to recognize that something's not the same about you, just make sure you have some really good and supportive people in your corner. You don't have to take the steps that Ernest and I have taken in terms of going straight to therapy or whatever, right? Just make sure you have some strong people in your corner that can support you through whatever you're going through. It's people that you trust and that want the best for you, right? Like you said, you had to learn possibly the hard way, right? In terms of what friends are there for you and what friends are not. And sometimes it's part of the journey, right? And so just go to those that you know and love and trust and that want the best for you, and they will encourage you to do what's right for you, and you'll get there.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And once again, thanks for sharing and thank you for this interview. Like I said, it's really positive. So and I really enjoyed every moment of it. If there's nothing else you want to add, ma'am, like I said, I thank you for doing this, and I'm going to continue shining the light on, you know, our region and the people of our area. So I think we definitely deserve more recognition for the positive impact that, you know, people from North Pitt have made, in not only the community but the whole state and some the whole country. Or quite a few,
Yeah.
the whole country. So I want to take time out to say that. But I'm going to wrap things up right here. Thank you for doing this for me. This has been another edition of More to Live for, Queens of the City. Why settle for less when your last name's more? Peace and blessings to all.